I've been involved in 2 Power of 10 group meetings. And last week I toured the diagnostic lab in Lincoln and its grand opening. Very impressive. We should be good for another 50 years with that facility. Secondly, I'd like to introduce the new members since our January meeting. We had 8 new veterinarians. Their names are Caitlin Edwards, Brian Vanderley, Brooke Porter, Kelly Jordan, Matthew Vipar, Jody Anderson, Tiffany Moses, and Carrie Koch Candy. Also, we had 7 veterinary technicians. Their names are Jesse Anderson, Alicia Lambert, Renee Church, Lisa Sunderman, Elaine Streff, Katie Baker, and Jessica Stoll. We welcome these new members. And at this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Peterson to give a nominating committee report.
The nominating committee has been working hard. We do have one person that is nominated currently, and so that is one good thing. But we are looking still for at least one other person to put on the ballot. So the one person that we do have nominated is Seth Harris. He's from the diagnostic lab. A very good gentleman and very willing to take on this position. All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, very good. All right, that should be all, and as the board, we will continue to strike out and try to talk to some other people, but like I said, if anybody has any other people that they have ideas about, please come in contact with me.
Other business, could we have Dr. Rick Cockrell come up and give us a legislative update?
It's kind of an interesting session this year. 2 or 3 bills of importance to the association. They got off to a slow start in the legislature because there was a lot of new senators with term limits, and they were arguing over who was going to be the chairman of committees. And so for 2 weeks, there was a lot of bipartisanship going on. But anyway, the bill that we were mainly concerned about was LB 223, which is the prescription drug monitoring program. And that's in a point now, there was a task force, and it's passed in law, and so Dr. Joey Gaines is doing a lot of work implementing the software for veterinarians to make it veterinary compatible and friendly for user friendly. That doesn't actually go into effect till July of 2018. You have to start reporting narcotic scheduled drugs. You have to report that if you dispense, not in-house use. So that was something we dealt on quite a bit, and I want to thank the members of the task force that helped work through this. Doctors Joey Gaines being one, Dave Weilander, Lance Rosa, and Pat Walmeyer. So I appreciate everything they did to help kind of implement this. There was frustrating times with it. It took a lot of work and effort to try to get to where we're at. So that was probably our big project, and now it's hitting the end run. We're getting close to the end of the project where it's going to be implemented. And if anybody has any questions about any of the bills, or in this bill particularly, afterwards, if you want to talk to me, I'll be around today and tomorrow. We can visit about it, and I'll either give you my best answer or try to get an answer for you if I can't answer it. The other bill that probably will be some interest to us next year is the equine massage bill. That bill never made it to the floor for discussion, but it came out of committee. It's LB 596. That's the equine massage bill. It's just basically about a bill where there's a group of equine masseuses that want to be able to massage horses, and they don't want to have to be licensed. And so probably the issue is just the licensing thing, the liability issues, that type of thing. And so we were opposed to it. It's a Senator Groney's bill from Northern Platte, I believe. And he may next session make it a priority bill. He didn't say he was or wasn't. So if it's something the NVMA feels strong about or against, we were in the against position on it, we'll probably be asked to contact senators and have them vote against this bill if in fact it makes it to the floor. The concern we had was not so much that they were just massaging the horses' backs and stuff, as if there was actually a problem like a fracture or something like that, and they were going to massaging thinking it was a muscle issue or something. And then some of the people that were doing that, when they would get there, then they would say, well, since I'm here, I can float the teeth or do something like that. So they were just, it's kind of ambiguous, but it starts challenging the Practice Act somewhat. So that's a bill that we'll have to be watching for next year if it gets brought up as a priority bill. And then the third one, which didn't go anywhere, there was some legislation, there we go. There was some legislation by one of the senators for taxing, it was tax relief. They were trying to figure out a way to lower property tax, so they're going to raise taxes on other things. And veterinary services were one of those areas where they were going to tax people. And so we were opposed to that, and that bill didn't get anywhere, get out of committee, so we're kind of okay with that. But that when they did have some discussion about it, then they kind of had dropped the services tax on veterinary services. So otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. But there was some involvement, and I appreciate everybody that's involved with that and helps deal with the legislature, because a lot of times it's a slow process and can be very frustrating. So if you have any questions now, I'd like to answer them real quickly, but if you don't, I'll talk to you afterwards if you want to come up and visit with me a little bit.
So in about a month and a half, myself and Dr. Dave Weilander will be going to Columbus, Ohio for our annual summer meeting with the AVMA. There's going to be 4 resolutions and 2 proposed bylaws amendments. I'll go over those real quick. These things I'm going to talk about this year, the AVMA is going to be sending out an email blast to all AVMA members that will have all of this information on it, and then you will have the ability to respond to those to emails back to myself and Dr. Weilander. And any comments or responses that anyone has would be welcome. They're wanting to try to get the association more involved, get the people involved, feel like they're a part of it. Just to let them know what's going on, what we're trying to do. These are the resolutions. Resolution 4 is policy on therapeutic use of stem cells and regenerative medicine. Resolution 5 is a policy on the veterinarian's role in supporting appropriate selection and use of service, assistance, and therapy animals. Resolution 6 is the importance of federal veterinarians in emergency response. Resolution 7 is the importance of veterinarians in food safety. And so when you get these in an email, you'll be able to click on a tab that will allow you to go and read what these are all about, kind of what the reasoning behind them is. And then we have the proposed bylaws amendments. There's one dealing with student chapters of the AVMA, and another one on constituent and allied veterinary organizations. And then we're going to have a couple hours that we can just discuss veterinary topics in a forum setting. And these are the 4 they have picked out right now are marijuana therapies for animals, application and definition of the veterinary client-patient relationship, prescription monitoring programs and opioid prescribing, and service and assistance animals. So these topics are topics that came about because just people in the association were trying to submit ideas that they want the AVMA to try to tackle for the association. So you should be getting all this in an email blast here sometime in the next week, and any comments that you might have would sure be welcome. Otherwise, I'll be around the rest of the day and tomorrow if you have any questions. Thanks.
Good afternoon. First of all, this thing working? Okay. Well, I'm going to try to hit. Dr. Beard asked me to do a little something here for 10 minutes, so I'm going to use my time, and in 10 minutes he's going to yank me off stage here. I hit, I call it 10 hot topics, and try to give you a brief overview of kind of what's going on in the part of agriculture. Of course, probably most of you know the situation. The state in itself is in trouble financially with the budget constraints, and Department of Agriculture in particular was one agency that has subjected to a fairly significant hit. One of the things that we're dealing with right now is individuals who retired. We're not able to replace them right now. So probably most of you knew Dr. Lee Torkelson retired last fall. We have not been able to replace him. Dr. Tom Schomer, deputy, retired about 2 months ago. We've not been able to replace him. Inspector position is also. So basically we're dealing with the rest of us are picking up the slack as best we can do. And it typically means longer hours for the rest of us, but what you gotta do. So we're hoping things will turn around, particularly in the area of our northeast Nebraska. We've got one field veterinarian with no inspectors right now, and she's 5 months pregnant. We'll be going on maternal leave in November, so it's kind of scary in northeast Nebraska. We won't have anybody up there at all from probably November to January. So we'll be really struggling to try to keep up with the workload. The theme of the week has been Seneca Valley virus. It started a week ago Monday, where we received notification that slaughter swine were arriving at destination with oral vesicles and feet lesions that look just like foot and mouth disease. And since then, we've had 49 different consigners of slaughter pigs send pigs to slaughter with lesions that look just like FMD. We treat those just like a foreign animal disease investigation, every one of them. So we have been heavily involved in doing those submissions to both Plum Island and University of Nebraska Diagnostic Lab. As has been reported among other states, those turn out to be Seneca Valley virus or Seneca virus A. We don't know what's going on, why there's an incredible upsurge in that problem. I've talked to my counterparts in Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, Kansas. They're all seeing this current problem with Seneca virus in swine. What's also been noted, that particularly in Wisconsin and Michigan, is a high incidence of cull sows arriving at plants with lesions. And some of those things that we've discovered there is that typically cull sow industry involves them moving from one buying station to another, to another, to another, till they get a truckload, then they eventually end up at Abbeyland Pork in Green Bay, or Bob Evans in Michigan, or Jimmy Dean Foods in Tennessee, and the whole load has oral vesicular lesions and feet lesions, some too lame to walk, and a high number are condemned and rendered. So that's basically a violation of federal law that's been going on. So that's going to come to an end pretty quickly here. There's supposed to be a time increment of 5 days from the time those animals leave the farm until the end of the slaughter. And it looks like some of those cull sows were moved from buying station to another state to another buying station. And it was up to 2 to 3 weeks before they actually ended slaughter. So that will come to an end here fairly quickly. Animal disease traceability, USDA threw out the proposal that they were thinking about going to phase 2, which meant that all feeder cattle would have to have individual ID before they moved interstate, and even for change of ownership. I got on the leadership team with some other state veterinarians, and I said right away, we're not ready. We still got deficiencies and gaps in breeding cattle. We're not ready to transition to feeder cattle. For the most part, they said, well, we're going to have some listening sessions around the United States, and we'll see what we hear. They heard tremendous pushback. We're not ready. So I can tell you right now that we're having our own listening session in Omaha on July 18th. You're all welcome to attend. In fact, I would welcome you to voice your opinions. There will be some representatives of the cattle industry who are very much anti-government and anti-ID. They will be very vocal. Basically, what's being heard right now is we need to clean up the act where we are right now in adult cattle, or cattle over 18 months, rodeo cattle, dairy cattle, before we think about transition to feeder cattle. I think with that, it's probably going to be another 4 or 5 years before USDA gets serious about requiring individual ID on feeder cattle. USDA is also under increased pressure for budget cuts. Particularly, they're being told by the Trump administration they could probably get a 20% hit next year. And I'll tell you that USDA is really scared. They don't know how they'll maintain their current workload, particularly for states that are also going through this. There's a general gloom and doom feeling out there of from regulatory veterinary medicine of how we're going to do our jobs if both the states and federal people are getting hit with budgets. To the point where right now the Trump administration is saying if you want a new rule, they want you to get rid of 2 old ones. One of the rules that's being proposed is dumping chronic wasting disease. And chronic wasting disease was, 20 years ago we didn't know that what its effect would be. There was a fear it might be zoonotic, there was a fear it might be transmissible to livestock, there was a fear that it would be very similar to BSE, but that's not been proven, and so USDA is probably going to move their way out of the chronic wasting disease regulatory world, and quite honestly, if our budgets are going to get hit like I think there will continue to be, then we probably will too. And chronic wasting disease is probably the disease that we just live with, kind of like Johne's disease. You know, they defunded Johne's disease several years ago, so we don't have a Johne's disease regulatory program anymore. And it's kind of what you deal with. If there's no budget, then you can't run a program. Tuberculosis, I don't know, for those of you out in the regulatory world, you don't realize what's going on with TB. South Dakota found a new beef herd in northwest South Dakota that once again had a tuberculosis strain that's DNA exact replica to a strain that circulates in Mexico. We had our own little problem here in 2009, 2011 with TB strain that originated from Mexico. Of course, there's 2 things that we know now. You get Mexican TB either from Mexican cattle, or you get Mexican TB from humans who bring in the TB organism, and it transmits from humans to cattle. That's been proven 3 times in the last 2 years. So right now, USDA is getting hammered by Congress because the TB eradication program is 100 years old, 1917. And they're being told, this program is 100 years, we're tired of funding TB. Maybe it's time that USDA quits funding TB eradication. So here we are. Here's another regulatory program that we were close to eradicating 20 years ago, and we've not gained much ground. Michigan is a hot state. They've got TB transmission. They find out a new herd almost every 2 months. Texas has a huge dairy, 11,000 head dairy. That's infected with TB. USDA offered them, they fought for a year to get an indemnity of $23 million check from USDA, and the owner turned it down. He wanted $30 million. So there we've got a big herd in Texas sitting there infected with TB. Can't indemnify it. They'll have to go through a test and removal procedure every 6 months for the next 10 years. And incredibly, they sell organic milk. So that's the world we live in. It's pasteurized, whatever, but they're one of the largest organic dairy producers in the US of A, and they're infected with TB. So the future of some of these program diseases is questionable. Chronic wasting disease is one that we know a lot more we did 20 years ago. Tuberculosis is one that Congress is getting tired of funding, and we're not gaining. I'm on the Secure Bee Supply Working Group. I'll talk about this afternoon. It's basically a group of state veterinarians and USDA people who are trying to come up with ways to allow continuity of business in the beef industry. There's another group, Secure Dairy, Secure Pork, and we use Secure Poultry during our David Insland's outbreak in 2015. Otherwise, I would welcome you to attend our 16th annual meeting of leaders, August 8th and 9th. Sure welcome you to attend that, and if you're not part of the leaders, we urge you to. We can sure use your assistance in the wake of a foreign animal disease that we hope never happens, or at least not in my career. And I think that's about everything I had to offer.
So it's exciting times for a school with the opening of the new diagnostic center. The grand opening was last Friday on June 9th. The new building is certainly wonderful. It exceeds our expectations, but it's not only a beautiful building, it certainly is a functional building. It's because of the great amount of preparation and planning that went into developing it. So it's a world-class facility, and in a few weeks, the staff and the faculty are looking forward to packing up and moving into it, putting that state-of-the-art building and equipment into use. So the great diagnostic work that's been going on all these years, the investigation will continue, but it'll continue at a higher level. We know that the bar is higher now, and we will meet expectations. So as far as the professional program in veterinary medicine, it continues to flourish. We've had an outstanding working relationship with Iowa State University since inception of the 2+2 program in 2006. The 7th class graduated last month, and we admitted the 11th class, and they'll start work this fall. So it's been a great program of success. To date, 164 students have graduated. About 2/3 have returned to the state, and they've excelled at all levels in vet school as well as after graduation as veterinarians. Now, with vacating the old diagnostic lab, we have a new opportunity to repurpose that and use it for instructional and service purposes for the professional program in veterinary medicine, as well as for undergraduate students. So the repurposing plan is underway, and we're looking forward to using that new space in a new way. So of course, the Great Plains Veterinary Educational Center faculty and staff continue to carry out their good work under the leadership of Dr. Gordelusha, Dr. Vanderlei, and Dr. Andrak, who are with us here today. We're looking forward to working on filling the open position vacated by Dr. Griffin when he retired and moved on. And we're also looking forward to eventually filling the newly created faculty position in extension at the West Central Research and Extension Center at North Platte. This will give us an opportunity to elevate our engagement in that part of the state, West and Central Nebraska. Our research and graduate education continues to flourish. We have research activity going on all levels, from endemic livestock diseases to Ebola virus, as well as Zika virus. So we're poised at this time to carry on a new higher level of research and diagnostic service. We certainly appreciate your engagement and support and look forward to the future. And we're looking forward to next year when this meeting is held in Lincoln. We're looking forward to hosting that.
We've got about 3 things to cover. First of all, the board met in May and authorized another $25,000 worth of scholarships. As those of you who are mentors to students, we want to really have you encourage them to apply for these scholarships. The average size of the scholarship is about $1,000, but many of our students get more than one, so the average allocation is about $1,500, and it's certainly worth the students' time. I get the advantage of seeing the thank yous, the appreciation of those who receive those scholarships in the forms of personal notes, and I can certainly tell you that the scholarships are appreciated. We all know they're needed. And as Dr. Kelly said, our students are doing very well. I hear although it's not official competition, I understand that Dr. Doster liked to say something about we had 11 of the top 10 students last year or something. So the students are very deserving, and we really appreciate what's going on, and we appreciate the impact that you have giving these students experience and the support of the foundation so that we can give them some money as well. In cooperation with the NVMA, we're giving each of the incoming students this year, the freshman students, first-year students of veterinary medicine, a gift, being a stethoscope like we did last year. And so each student gets something from the foundation and the NVMA, and we appreciate that very much. Along with giving out money, of course, is taking in money. So I want to announce that we'll be having an auction at the January meeting. It'll be a little different than some that we've had in the past. We are going to limit the number of items for the live auction from somewhere between 5 and 10 items. So we encourage you to give thought to that. We'll also be having a silent auction, one that we can will be an online auction, so you can bid on your phone. And a large part of fundraising is to have fun with it. So we certainly encourage you to participate in that auction, whether it be donating something. We'd like to package some things together, so we'll even take cash because then perhaps we can package a unique trip or a unique event, buy motel rooms, that sort of thing, to offer as attractive auction items. The third thing I'd like to mention is that we've got a brand new scholarship, and we're very fortunate that Dr. Dale and Lisa Grodrushin have endowed a scholarship, and this will be for graduate students, much like the Landholm scholarship for acupuncture is for graduate veterinarians. This is specific to graduate students. We're lucky enough to have Dale here today. We're just announcing this scholarship. We'll be taking applications and making decisions in either September or January, depending on the response to our invitation. But Dale, perhaps you could come tell a little more personally about it.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I'll have to say I feel kind of awkward standing up here talking about this, but I guess veterinary medicine is like, I'm no different than about everybody, all of you, that veterinary medicine is very, very good, has been very, very good to us. And in light of, I guess maybe an old term, but paying back and giving back, hopefully we're able to do something that will help the profession for some years to come. And I think for advancements in veterinary medicine in our areas, especially we're related to food animal veterinary medicine, graduate education, training our own, growing our own, developing new thinking, new advancements is, I think, critical, and I think it becomes the lifeblood for the profession as time goes on. So, doing something to enhance graduate students, graduate education became, I think, an important thing to do. So, really what's being put in place is the ability to provide some financial assistance. We're in a lot different world than we were many years ago with debt loads, et cetera, and the ability to maybe further education when people have wanted to. So hopefully what this scholarship will do will enhance the opportunity of yes, practitioners that have a couple or more years of practice experience behind them. That's one of the criteria that if they choose, they can to go back to graduate school. There's been people in the state that haven't left practice that have gone with graduate degrees, and so the door is open. We have a new diagnostic lab even, there's going to be needs for pathologists, and so there's plenty of opportunity and also plenty of need.